We are here today because we are all studying for mains when we are supposed to be studying for prelims. So UPSC has a few weeks ago announced the change in prelims schedule, and prelims is now scheduled in October 10th. So as per the original schedule, it was much earlier, but now things have gone backward forward in terms of time because of the second wave that we have been suffering from over the last few weeks. Now, that calls for a change in strategy. We are going through very, very quickly evolving times. So every month is a challenge because of the COVID scenario. We are being forced and compelled to adapt, learn, and reinvent and reprioritize our goals. So in that spirit, what we have now is the fact that whereas you have been preparing with one set of timeline for a long while now, the timeline has been changed now. Whereas you would have been preparing for prelims, but now because of the push, because prelims has been pushed to October, you have ample time. But it is like, since you got a lot of time now before the prelims, it is quite likely that UPSC may condense the amount of time that you have after prelims. You may not get 90 or 100 or 120 days. You may get 80 days or even less than that. We never know. So that means that all of you must be focusing on mains at least till August 15th, at least till August or early August. You should be focusing on mains. So this is mains time. That is the reason why we are all here. This is mains time and not prelims time. That is the first point I want to make. Now, yes, we are in mains time. Now, a key pillar in mains preparation, as all of you very well know, is optional. A key pillar in this whole mains preparation is optional. And I'm an optional faculty here in LAIX. I'm Harsha Mannava, and I teach anthropology here in LAIX the past few years. So I specialize in anthropology, and most of you, all of you, not most, all of you are students with anthro as a optional. So since we are preparing for mains and anthro is a key pillar to success in mains, we are here to discuss anthro strategies. We are here to see how we can make best of the time that we have, the next 2 months. We almost have a little less than 2 months perhaps. Some of you must have already begun your preparation, others are going to begin. So there is something like 2 months of time for you to take up, for you to spend, for you to invest in mains, especially in optional. And the big chunk of you are those who have just finished your coaching, who have finished classes, who have read once or twice the whole syllabus, and you're trying to now grapple with, you're trying to understand how to handle this time period, and you're trying to see how you should use this time for your anthro preparation. So here, today, we are primarily interested in discussing anthro strategy. We are primarily interested in discussing anthro strategy. What should be the strategy we must take? So we will first, today in this session, we will first address the challenges that you are all facing. What are the challenges that you face? Then we will take up some of the key challenges, and we will look at how do we go about studying chapter-wise or module-wise. How do we prepare chapter-wise for the anthropology? How should we go about writing our answers? And lastly, we will see how we will take up any Q&A, or mostly, since we discuss challenges, we will also take up solutions. We will take up solutions. So we begin. The general method for any discussion is for the for the speaker to first discuss and then take questions. But that will not be our format today, because I want to hear you out. I want to hear you out. I want to understand what challenges you are facing. And then I will go about addressing those challenges. Because if I start discussing challenges and those are not what you feel, the whole thing is meaningless. So the primary objective of this session is to be interactive. It is to be student centric. It is not for me to come here with content and deliver it to you. So I'm not here with an agenda. I'm here to evolve an agenda from all of you. So I need you to now I'll open the floor for questions for a few minutes. I will take down the important questions that all of you have. What are the challenges you are facing? Each of you are facing with respect to optional preparation. Then we will look at a discussion. We will take up discussion on how to address those challenges. So I will not assume that I know what all of you are facing. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you, and I want to take up those challenges and address them in detail. That is the point of this session. The point of this session is not to tell you what I want to say. The point of this session is to understand what you want to know and give that to you. So that is the issue. So I will now open the floor for questions. So please tell me, please unmute yourself and tell me what are the challenges you are facing. What are the challenges each of you are facing? And we will look at how to address those challenges together. Yes. So what are the challenges? Please, you can either put in the comment section or you can tell your challenges to me by unmuting. What are your challenges? Yes, so challenges are, first question we have is about self-study, books. Somebody is asking note making. Books and resources is the same point. How to start? How many months? Not able to recall.
Yes, hello sir, am I audible?
Yes. Who is this? Tejas, is it?
Yes, sir, Tejas. I just wanted to know,
Yes.
sir, like, what do you feel is the change in anthropology preparation after this 2020? Because this time 2020 paper was very different and difficult, like people have been saying, right?
Yes.
So compared to earlier years like 2017, 18 and 2019, 20, just if you can throw some light on how the exam has changed and how our preparation has to change, in the required way.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Next, some are asking about value addition. Very good. Very good. I'm getting a lot of good questions. Good guidance. Syllabus, how to minimize syllabus. Not able to recall points. Books for anthropology. Teachers. Yes, what are the questions? Right time to enroll test series. Time management. Yes, so I got the whole range of issues that you are raising. How to score high marks? Yes, we will discuss that. How to score high marks. how to interlink. Current affairs, very good. Presentation we will take up as part of answer writing. Yes, so I got the broad range of questions. I will address them first, and then if there are any things which are not addressed, you can raise these questions. You can raise these questions after we have addressed these issues. First, what is the main approach? So many are asking about strategies. Many are asking about strategy and how to handle this issue of strategy in this particular subject. So what is the strategy? How do we look at optional? The first issue that I would like to discuss is the whole issue of orientation. What is the orientation for students that you should have? Under this, we will look at what you are all trying to say. So the orientation is, what is the attitude that you must have? Many students, what they miss is exam centricity. What many students miss is exam centricity. They take the syllabus, and they just read it with an open-ended mindset. They take the syllabus and they're reading it with an open-ended mindset. So they keep reading, collecting a lot of resources, but they're never having exam centricity. What do we mean by exam centricity? By exam centricity, what we are trying to say is always have syllabus. First, syllabus should be next. Then where do you begin? The next question is, where do you begin? I would suggest whatever topic you're comfortable with. The topic that you're comfortable with. Whichever topic you're comfortable, begin with that topic. Begin with that topic. So, if you are comfortable with socio-cultural anthro, please start with socio-cultural anthro like marriage, family. If you are comfortable with thought, start with thought. But I would suggest choose paper 1 because paper 2 is easy. Paper 2 is easy in terms of reading. The challenge in paper 2 is writing. So choose paper 1 and whichever. If some of you have more ease with physical anthro, you can choose physical anthro. So choose any topic that you're comfortable with and begin. So keep your syllabus, choose a topic. After choosing the topic, keep previous year questions next to you. Look at previous year questions in the topic. How are questions being asked? How are questions being asked? That should give you the scope that you should cover in the topic. The scope that you must cover in the topic. That will define the scope for you. So use previous year questions as guiding lights. Next, after choosing previous year questions, after choosing the topic, the next issue is resources. What are my resources? Resources. So what resources should you follow? Most of you would have taken coaching, or some of you would be doing self-study. Those who are asking for self-study, the whole preparation you can do self-study. There is no doubt. There are also students who do self-study and still crack the exam. But the issue with self-study is that it is more time intensive and you won't have structured guidance. But when you have attended some classes, the benefit is that you save time and effort, because time and effort are the key variables in this exam. When you take any classes, time and effort is saved. So you can do self-study, no doubt, but if you have some guidance, if you have mentorship, if you have seniors or friends who can guide you, then you can do self-study. Otherwise, I suggest you join any program, because the program will keep you in touch with the direction. Otherwise, you will feel like you're in a forest not knowing what to do. So after choosing resources, After choosing a topic, now come to resources. Choose any good class notes first. Don't jump to books. I would always suggest to students using class notes plus standard books as the standard books or standard material. I would suggest these for most of my students. So please use any good class notes. You can choose my class notes, or you can choose any good teacher's class notes that you have in the market, which you like. Some students like one teacher's, another student may like a different teacher. So whichever teacher's notes you are comfortable with, which some students like one teacher's presentation, another students like a different teacher's presentation. So choose any one teacher's notes and use the class notes along with standard books and material. This is the strategy I suggest. In the first round, and if you have attended classes, please use the class notes that you have taken in your coaching. Don't go for one teacher's class and take another teacher's notes. Don't do that. Try to stick as much as possible to the one teacher whose classes you have attended, because each teacher covers most of the syllabus and you have listened to those classes. Since you listened, the structure and key ideas are already in your mind. So don't now lose the advantage by going for a different teacher. So class notes is the first step. Next, after class notes, use standard books or material. Here, for each topic, you can have a different set of standard books. So what do I suggest? I suggest for socio-cultural anthro, for example, marriage, family, kinship. For socio-cultural anthro, I tell my students, please read Ember and Ember. That's a very good book. Most materials that you have in the market are based on Ember and Ember. And Ember and Ember has a lot of examples. Ember and Ember has a lot of examples. So use these examples. So this is the book I suggest to most of my students, along with class notes. Only after class notes, I suggest them to go for Ember and Ember. For Anthro Thought, what should you read? Anthro Thought is the area most students face difficulty with. Most students have difficulty with Anthro Thought. So how do you go about Anthro Thought? For Anthro Thought, try to, again, there is no one single source that is good. There is no one single source that is good. So first, usually for Anthro Thought, the best source is a good notes. Because a teacher would have, Anthro Thought is not available in any one book. Multiple books have to be read and synthesized to give you notes. So if you have good notes, use it. Otherwise, use Makanja for the topics that he had covered already. Makanja, the book Makanja covers some of the topics in the syllabus. After Makanja, you can use University of Alabama. University of Alabama has there's a website of University of Alabama where all the anthropological theories have been compiled in a structured style. So you can use University of Alabama's website as a reference for Anthro Thought. Or otherwise, these days many students are using the book written by Vivek Basme or Akshat Jain. So there are these books by rankers. These rankers have taken their notes and they have published their notes in the form of a guidebook. So those guidebooks are mostly in the Q&A format, question and answer format. If you are comfortable with the question and answer format, you can choose those guidebooks. If the question and answer format is not something you're liking, then you take these books. What is Anthro Thought? Anthro Thought is thinkers. Anthropological thinkers. Topic 6 in our syllabus, please. Paper 1. In paper 1, chapter 6. Functionalism, evolutionism, diffusionism, structuralism, all this is Anthro Thought. So for anthro thought use, this is the structure that I suggest. Next comes physical anthro. What should you read for physical anthro? What must you read for physical anthro? What about physical anthro? Physical anthro, there are two books that everybody follows. Of the two, I suggest B.M. Das. I suggest B.M. Das for students. B.M. Das is the better book. But B.M. Das is written well. It is written well, but the problem with B.M. Das is that this book does not cover every point aspect in our syllabus. So for the aspects which are covered in B.M. Das, please use B.M. Das. Next, some are not covered in B.M. Das. So whatever is not covered in B.M. Das, please use P. Nath. Use P. Nath for topics which are not covered within B.M. Das. So for physical anthro, what should you do? For physical anthro, this is what we can do. Use B.M. Das first, and if B.M. Das does not cover all the details, then you can go for P. Nath. Then you can switch for P. Nath. So these are the two sources. Next comes archaeology. For archaeology, there is archaeology. What is archaeology? What is archaeology? Bharat is asking for Telugu medium books. For Telugu medium, we have Telugu Academy textbook. So please use Telugu Academy textbook. Otherwise, the standard books are in English. Most of the standard books are in English, Bharat. But Telugu Academy also has certain anthropology books. You can use those for your reference. Next, archaeology. What about archaeology? How to handle archaeology? What is archaeology? Archaeology involves, it is there in both paper 1 and paper 2. The Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, all those ages are archaeology. So archaeology is there in both paper 1 and paper 2. How do we deal with archaeology? My students, I teach, most of my students like the way we did archaeology in our course. So most of my students are they have a lot of ease with this topic. So because I keep it simple. For archaeology, please do not read a lot. No overreading. Overreading may help in paper 2 other topics, but overreading is a big problem in archaeology. For archaeology, the solution is to read less and remember more, because archaeology has a lot of facts. So read less and remember more. If you read more, you will remember less, because this is a very fact-intensive topic. So for archaeology, there are no good books, but there is a paper, An Introduction to Archaeology, written by V.N. Misra. You can just Google for An Introduction to Archaeology by V.N. Misra. You will get the PDF. Many rankers are using this PDF. So please use this PDF for archaeology. This PDF very neatly, very clearly discusses the various ages very conceptually. The key features of the various ages are discussed very conceptually in V.N. Misra's paper. So I suggest to most of my students to rely on V.N. Misra's paper for archaeology section and not rely on other things. If you have a good class notes, please stick to that. Otherwise, use V.N. Misra's. You can Google right now, V.N. Misra's outline of archaeology. So that is the book that you have to follow for. That is the paper I suggest to most of my students. That leaves us with Indian anthropology. Next, we are going to paper 2. What about Indian anthropology? Paper 2, Indian anthropology is in paper 2. Phineas Van Ferb is asking, can you tell us the syllabus? I hope all of you are people who have finished your classes, right? Most of you are those who are familiar with syllabus. So I'm going with that assumption. So please keep a syllabus copy next to you if you don't have, because we are doing this session with the assumption that most of you are those who are preparing for mains after one round of classes. So if you get into syllabus, it will divert our attention. Yes. We will look at the issue of terminology. I'll come to that. We will come to the issue of terminology. So next is Indian anthropology. Indian anthropology is the first part of paper 1. Caste system, village studies, Indian anthropologists, and all these issues of minorities, nature, man, spirit complex, all these topics in paper 1. That is chapter 1 to units 1 to units 5. 1 to 5. 1 is archaeology, so 2 to 5. Units 2 to 5 in paper 2. This is Indian anthropology. What should you read for Indian anthropology? For Indian anthropology, the simplest book that is available in the market is Indian Anthropology by Nadeem Hasnan. Indian Anthropology by Nadeem Hasnan covers the basic issues in good detail. On top of this, you can use Dr. Vivek Basme's book or Akshat Jain's book for getting more examples and case studies. For getting examples and case studies, you can use these two books. Because in Indian anthropology, examples and case studies are very, very important. They form a very important part. These are very important. So for this, you can use, both books are very similar. So choose any one book. Vivek Basme, a previous ranker, he wrote a book. Then Akshat Jain, he is another ranker who also wrote a book. These are rankers who converted their notes to books. So Nadeem Hasnan's book, it is called as Indian Anthropology. The title of the book is Indian Anthropology. This is Nadeem Hasnan's book. Nadeem Hasnan's Indian Anthropology. Nadeem Hasnan wrote multiple books, so please use Indian Anthropology as the reference. On top of this, for examples and case studies, you can use this. Or the other thing, the other easiest way to get examples is take every topic and just do Google search. You will get in Google search, go to news section. Google search and go to news section. There you will find the latest updates on the topic, latest evidences, latest case studies. So just Google every word in the syllabus and see what results come and note it down and write in the exam. That is the approach. That is the approach for Indian anthropology. That leaves us lastly with tribal India. That leaves us lastly with tribal India. That leaves us lastly with tribal India. Tribal India, what is tribal India? In tribal India, this is syllabus in paper 2. In paper 2 of syllabus, this is from chapter 6 to chapter 9. Chapter 6 to chapter 9 in paper 2 is tribal India. And tribal India is the most important part in the entire syllabus. Tribal India is the most important part in the entire syllabus of paper 2, because those who are getting high scores in anthropology, they are getting high scores because of this section. This section is very much rewarding in terms of marks. This section is very rewarding in terms of marks. So please focus on this section. Where should you read this section from? First, this section, I will tell you how this section is different from that, but first let us discuss sources. This section is good. Nadeem Hasnan, again, the same author, wrote a book called Tribal India. His book is titled Tribal India. Please, this book is a very simple book, written in very simple language for all the beginners to follow and understand. In addition to Nadeem Hasnan's book, what most of you have to read compulsorily is Virginius Kaka. The report of Virginius Kaka Committee. This is a high-level committee which was constituted by the government of India to examine the social and economic status of scheduled tribes. So look at Virginius Kaka Committee's report. Please look at this committee's report and recommendations. That is very, very important for us. This committee's report and its recommendations are very, very important to us. In addition to this, for those students who are interested, I also suggest one more book, a very good book, written by the same person. It is called as State Society and Tribes by, again, Virginius Kaka. This is an extra reading book for those who want to understand, those who want to get greater conceptual depth on tribal India. This is the other book. On top of this, you have to remember tribal examples. Tribal examples, case studies. So some student asked me, where do we collect case studies? So this report has many case studies, please. This report has many case studies that you can use in your exam. So please use many case studies that are present in this report. No. Manasa, that is not how it is. So Manasa is asking us if this report will be released every year. No, this is not like economic survey. This is a one-time report. This report was in fact released in 2014. This report was released in 2014. And we have to, it is the same report that we have to read. It is not released every year. It is not like economic survey or budget which come every year. This is a one-time report. So this committee report is very important. Wherever you are discussing tribal problems and proposing solutions, they will have more weight. They will have more weight if you say the solution is so and so as per Virginius Kaka Committee. The solution is so and so as per Virginius Kaka Committee recommendation. So if you quote this committee, you will more likely get high marks. And this report also has many case studies. So this report is very rich in terms of case studies that all of you can use for your benefit. Where else the other issue, the major issue with tribal India. So major issue with tribal India is that you need more examples. You need more examples and case studies. And how do you collect these examples and case studies? So these books already contain, as you're reading these books, they already contain examples and case studies within them. So you just have to identify them and remember, note on a side, case study. For this topic, I will write case study. If there's issue of women's status among tribal society, Nadeem Hasnan's book discusses about Gonds, tribal status of women among Gonds. Nadeem Hasnan's book also discusses about women's status in Mizos, women's status among Nagas. So this is how you can look at these books. This is how you can look at these books. So for tribal India, this is the method. These are the books, and you will have case studies here itself. Case studies are present within the books. You just have to identify them and take a sheet, keep a sheet, and first list down in that sheet all the case studies you have come across. Next, you can map. You have to map those case studies which you have written in one place to a topic. First is the listing. Second is mapping. So please, first step is to list. First step is the listing of case studies. The second step is the mapping of case studies. Second, you have to map them. So listing and mapping of case studies are the two important things. On top of this, you can add any current examples. For current examples, I tell my students two sources. First, there is a website called betterindia.com. Some of you must be familiar with this betterindia.com, where a lot of positive stories about tribals, various developmental stories are shared. So use betterindia.com to just Google, search in the website, tribal education. You will find an article, a case study, tribal health, a case study, tribal poverty, tribal hunger. Use these syllabus words and search in this website. Many stories, many examples will come. How in Jharkhand they tried home delivery of rations, home delivery of medicines. How in Chhattisgarh they created a helpline for tribals. How in Madhya Pradesh they explored coexistence of tribals with wildlife. All such examples are given here in this website. Next, just search Google, just for example, if you want to know how tribes are responding to COVID. So COVID, and just type COVID Indian tribes in Google. And go to news section. When you go to news section in Google search, you will find various examples of case studies. How, for example, among bills, there was an example of how in bills the vaccine hesitancy was addressed. There were examples of how among Dongriya Pons in Odisha, the local administration took up measures to overcome vaccine hesitancy. All these measures will come up, all these measures will be available if you just do a simple Google search. So betterindia.com, not only for tribal information, you can use betterindia.com for your GS as well. Betterindia.com has a lot of good positive stories, not just these examples. It has a lot of good positive stories. In addition to betterindia.com, after doing all this, if you have more time, then I also tell some of my students to have a look at journals. These journals, these journals have latest publications on tribal research, latest publications on tribal case studies, tribal research are published in journals by professors. And since your papers will be evaluated by professors, if you can just quote any case study from a journal, then those case studies, if the examiner sees that case study and if he has read the case study in the journal, he will be very impressed. He will give you extra marks. So what are the journals which you can use? The first journal is by Indian Anthropological Society. Indian Anthropological Society has the first journal. Next, there is a journal called Sociological Review. This is a very, very reputed journal. Here, many case studies and many recent findings on tribes are listed. So these two journals are very good. A journal by Indian Anthropological Society and a journal from Sociological Review. These two journals are very helpful, and latest developments, latest research on the subject of tribal people is listed here. So please use these two journals. So this is in terms of what are the various sources. Now, after looking at sources, let us look at paper by paper. Let us go by paper by paper. What is the approach for paper by paper? This is the book list for paper 1. Some student asked me, so I'm listing it here. Let us go by paper now. Paper 1 and paper 2 call for slightly different approach. Both these papers, do not have the same approach. What do I mean by that? Paper 1 is it is just simple. Paper 1 has steady scope. The scope is fixed. Questions come from syllabus. And if you read those questions, if you have the content ready, you can just right away write the answers that you have. You can right away write the answers which you have prepared already in the examination. Paper 1, the syllabus is huge. You have to study anthropological theories. You have to study socio-cultural institutions. You have to study physical anthropology. You also have to study archaeology. But the syllabus is vast in paper 1 compared to paper 2. But the benefit with paper 1 is that the content is ready. The content is ready with you, and you can use that content readily in the examination. The content can be used readily in the examination. Paper 2 is different. In paper 2, what happens? In paper 2, what happens is that the syllabus is very less. The syllabus is very less compared to paper 1, and it is also very light paper. The concepts are not too difficult to remember, too difficult to understand. That is not the issue. But the challenge in paper 2 is that paper 2, there is no fixed answers. Paper 2 is like essay paper. If paper 1 is like GS1 or GS2, paper 2 is like essay. You can prepare the broad outline, but you cannot just prepare a point by point answer for every question. Questions are very fluid. So if a paper 2, you should be able to write like essay. You should be able to describe things using examples, case studies. Paper 1 is very factual. So paper 1, if they ask you on a thinker, you must quote the thinker's ideas, give examples, define the concepts. All this is in paper 1. So in paper 1, the challenge is to read, make notes, remember. Here, the issue that students raised, terminology. How do we remember? How do we remember and terminology? These issues come to the forefront in paper 1 more than paper 2. In paper 1, there are many terms. You have to remember definitions for family, definition for marriage, definition for religion, and a lot of terminology is involved in paper 1. How do you remember this terminology and all this in paper 1? What is the way forward? What is the way forward? Students have difficulty because they are trying to remember a definition word by word. They are trying to remember definition word by word. So I tell my students, don't do that. Instead of going for word by word definition, each definition has definition or terminology. Each definition or terminology has two aspects. First aspect of a definition is its meaning. Its meaning or its spirit. The second aspect to the definition, its meaning or its essence. What is it trying to say? The second aspect to a definition has to do with keywords. How do you remember? There will be some keywords in every definition. Those keywords should be repeated. You don't have to be able to quote the definition word by word. What you must be able to express is that meaning, and the important keywords must be there in your definition. Your definition cannot ignore these keywords. This definition cannot ignore these keywords. So keywords and with the meaning, this must come. So in paper 1, you get good marks. You get good marks only if you are able to use the terminology. You should be able to use anthropological terminology. Don't use your own language. You should be able to use terminology. So what is the way to use terminology? The way to use terminology is identify and remember keywords in each topic. If you do this, you will realize in each paper, there are only about some 100 keywords, especially in paper 1, that too. There are about some 100 keywords. These keywords must be there in your answer. In every answer, there must be at least some 6 to 8 keywords. 6 to 8 keywords. Then the examiner knows, yes, this student, this candidate is using keywords to write his answer. He's not just writing like a layman. He has taken the effort to read and understand the keywords of the discipline, and he is replicating those keywords in his answer. So these keywords or terminology, they influence, they give positive impression to a examiner. After keywords and terminology, you can next quote thinkers. Keywords and terminology is one. Next, thinkers are very important in every topic, especially in paper one. Use thinkers like, the best possible way. Use as many thinkers as you can for every answer. Thinkers are very, very important in every answer. Use thinkers next. And more than any other subject, in anthropology, examples are very, very important. And the best way to represent examples are case studies for each topic. Take any example or case study and represent it and provide it in the answer. How to get examples? All the standard books that we described, they have examples. Or in all the books that I described, in your class notes, in all the books that I have just mentioned, you will get a lot of examples. Just maintain another sheet, one sheet for thinkers, one sheet for all the keywords, another sheet for all examples. And how do you write examples? Don't write paragraphs on example. The easiest way to explain example to an examiner in the exam is through flowcharts. Draw flowcharts, or through diagrams. You can explain an example very effectively. In 30 seconds, you can explain the flowchart, you can explain the diagram. So please use this approach to handle this particular part. Anusha is asking us, in physical anthropology, should we remember all the medical terminologies? Not needed, Anusha. You need to remember concepts, not all the terminologies. Please remember the concepts and remember the relevant terminology. Don't go after more and more in terminology. This is not an exam of medical sciences. This is not an exam in medical science. So please understand the concept and only take those important terms that are relevant. Don't try to become a medical professional overnight. You understand and take the bare minimum terminologies that you have to pick up to be able to express those the concept in the exam. Don't maximize the terminologies. So this is how we have to address the issue. This is how we have to address the issue of paper one, and this is how we have to go about in our answer writing framework. So meaning, essence, keywords, terminology, thinkers, examples, and case studies. For paper 2, the approach changes slightly. In paper 2, as I said, it is like essay. So you are not just going to write a lot of information. In paper 2, what they're going to look for is how well you are also analyzing. How well you are analyzing. So they look for how well you should probably be able to write in small paragraphs. In paper 2, you can't write in points. In paper 1, you can easily write in points. It is the best way to write paper 1. For paper 2, you have to write like essays. So you must write in small paragraphs explaining each thing and use case studies. That is how paper 2 is different. So the challenge for paper 2 is in writing style, not in reading mechanism. It is in writing style. This is the broad approach for paper 2 and paper 1. Yes, so what should you do? So I suggest that in the next 50 days, give 1 to 2 readings of the syllabus completely. And reading is one step. So don't just hear what many students, the mistake they make is that they just keep reading without endlessly. That I don't advocate. Keep previous year questions, keep syllabus next to you and read with focus. So by reading, we mean focused reading. We mean focused. So do focused reading, please. Don't do open-ended, endless, abstract reading. What you must do is focused reading in this test. And along with focused reading, I also tell my student, how should you read? Like I said, use any good two sources, use any good class notes and support class notes with one book for each topic. Class notes plus one standard book to read. Next, after reading, you have to make your own. Please try to make your own short notes. How do you make short notes? I have a very good technique to my students. What is that? The best way to make short notes is just take A4 sheet, make it, fold it in the middle, in landscape. Fold it like this, in landscape. You will get a folded paper like this. So in like this, on one side, you can write one topic, one subtopic, other side, another subtopic, this side, one more subtopic, and here. In one page, on 4 subpages, you'll be able to cover the entire topic. So take a A4 sheet in landscape, put it in a landscape mode, fold it into half, and use the 4 sides of this sheet to write your notes. So one topic should be brought to the level of one sheet. When students take up notes making, what they do is that they just write so many pages of notes. When you write a very bulky notes, what happens is that the bulky notes is difficult to revise. The notes is very bulky, it is very difficult to revise. So don't go for bulky notes. Don't go for bulky notes. Keep it as short notes. And in the short notes can have the following structure. Each topic must be divided into 3 to 4 headings. In each topic, divide each topic into 3 to 4 headings. Under each heading, you must remember 5 points. 5 points along with the necessary keywords. Under each heading, remember 5 points along with the necessary keywords. And if possible, at the end, see if you can do any value addition. For each topic, what value addition can you include? Value addition can include any thinker, any case study, and any example. So this is how your notes must be. You're in one sheet, the whole topic must be covered. 3 to 4 headings, under each heading, 5 points with keywords, just very briefly. Because you already read, the understanding must be there in your mind. For the understanding to come onto the paper, what should you remember? Whatever minimum amount you should remember should be in your notes. So that when you have your whole syllabus in such small bundles of A4 sheets, then day before exam, even hours before exam, revision becomes easy. So the benefit of having short notes is that short notes allows you to do multiple revisions. You cannot do multiple revisions. You cannot do multiple revisions when you have to do it for multiple revisions cannot be done with when you are reading a lot of material. It will be laborious. But when you have short notes, you can go through it again and again and again. So you can even do 10 revisions, 2 revisions every month. If you provided you have this ready. So short notes is like your toolkit. So your output is as strong as your toolkit is. Your output is as strong as your toolkit is. So if you're trying to cover a distance by walking, you will cover in the same time you will cover very small distance. If you are running, more. If you take to bicycle, even more. If you take a two-wheeler, even more distance. If you take a car, even more. So depending on the tool you are choosing, how much distance you depends. So having short notes, when you're writing short notes, it will feel very burdensome. In the beginning, it will be burdensome, but keep at it for 1 week. And after 1 week, you will begin to enjoy it. And having short notes is a big, big benefit, because before the exam, you will be able to do multiple revisions and the whole content will be in your head. So take any topic, whenever there's a topic you're writing answer for, the short notes must immediately flash in your mind. Yes, I'm writing about marriage. Immediately, your short notes should flash in your mind. Yes, in my notes, marriage introduction is like this. Marriage has the following headings. There is a diagram, there is a case study, there's an example, and you must be able to write all of that quickly. That is the benefit of short notes. And short notes through multiple revisions helps you remember. So one student has asked me, how do I remember? How do I remember? How do I recall? You're not able to recall, you're not able to remember because your structuring is not in this format. Try for any topic, try this for 1 or 2 chapters and you will see the benefits yourself. I'm not asking you to go by my word. Try this for 2-3 chapters and you will see that the outcome is very, very different. Try this for 2-3 chapters. So please do this. After doing this, you must next try to do answer writing. You must next try to do answer writing. Please try to do at least some basic answer writing before prelims itself. Please try to do some basic answer writing before prelims itself. And after prelims, you can do even more serious writing. Here, we are offering a mentorship. We are offering a mentorship program starting from 26th. Starting from 26th June, we are offering a mentorship program where you can write answers for some very easy questions, for some basic questions. After mains, we will take up more difficult questions. At this stage, I want you to get confidence. I want you to enjoy writing. So we will take up some basic questions and try to write answers for this. And this mentorship program is beginning on 26th of this month. So if you have any other way to practice answer writing, please follow that. If you don't have any other readily available way to write answers, you can join the mentorship. And we are covering the whole syllabus over a span of 6 weeks, 6 to 7 weeks. We are covering the entire syllabus in 7 to 8 tests. In 7 to 8 tests, we are trying to cover the entire syllabus so that by 1st of August, you finish. So each week we are taking some topics and covering them. And by 1st of August, we will be able to finish the whole syllabus. We will be able to finish the whole syllabus. So please keep that in mind. So join this or any other, whichever is more comfortable. So, but the objective is to write answers. The objective is to do answer writing practice before prelims. That is the key objective of this idea. So do answer writing and then you can close. By August, close. And when you come back after prelims, when you come back and open your optional on October 11th, when you open your, come back to option October 11th, your ready notes, if you don't make these notes, what happens is that you will have to read the whole material again. All the effort you put in now will evaporate. Knowledge evaporates. So all the effort you put in now will be lost. But if you have short notes ready, what happens is that when you come back immediately on October 11th, you don't have to go through all the notes that you went through now. You can just open the short notes and just revise it and start writing tests. You can write tests regularly, you can use short notes, and you can do a lot of innovation because the short notes is ready. On that, you can build more examples, more diagrams, more case studies, more data. All this can be done. And having short notes also help you interlink because you are doing multiple revisions and regularly reading. In 2 weeks, you will be able to, you will reach, if trust me, if you have short notes, at the end of all this, you will reach a stage where in 2 weeks time, you are able to revise the whole syllabus. In 2 weeks time, you are able to revise the whole syllabus. Then you will easily see, yes, I can use this concept from paper 1 in paper 2. I can use the concepts I learned in marriage to analyze the social change in India in paper 2. I can use the concepts I learned from anthropological theories to study tribal issues. I can use cultural ecology approach of Julian Stewart to understand tribes and forest policies. So you will see all those connections. So interlinking comes when you do multiple revisions. For multiple revisions, you need shorts. So these are how things are connected. That is why I'm breaking things to you, step by step to you. So please look into these issues. Next, another issue that students ask me is time management, how to manage time. I suggest to my students that they should break their day into 2 halves. Big half. So in the morning session, maybe from the time you wake up until you have your lunch, until maybe 1 or when, morning session, I ask my students to give it for optional. The morning session, you give it for optional. So every day in the morning session, try to put in 3 to 4 hours for optional. And post lunch, you can give for GS. Post lunch, give for GS. Yeah, I suggest you give a lot of time for optional because optional decides your outcome. So in your day, give 30 to 40% of time for optionals, preferably 40. So in the morning session, make it a habit. Make it a habit to study optional every day in the morning session. Every day in the morning session, study optional. And every day in the post-noon session, maybe from 2 till evening 9, 10, whenever you sleep, you have more number of hours, right? There you can cover GS. Do this every day. And on the weekend, maybe on Sunday, you can do your tests. Sunday, you can leave it for test day. Sunday and Saturday. If you can take optional test on Sunday and you can take a GS test on Saturday. Because maybe writing 2 tests is too difficult. So Saturday, you can do your GS and Sunday, you can write your optional. So weekdays, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, you are studying and 1 day a week, you are writing tests. This is how you should divide your load. This is how you should go about preparing for the optional and GS. So split your day into 2 halves. Pre-lunch, post-lunch. Pre-lunch, stick to optional. Cover optional in the method that we discussed. And post-lunch, you can go for GS. So that in one day, you're covering optional. In any given day, you're covering optional and GS both. You're covering optional and GS both are being connected. Both are being covered in the same day. So this is the issue. So that is I think I covered all the questions that, and yes, one more question. Change after 2020. Teja Sai asked as a question. What happened in 2020? In 2020 first is the papers were slightly difficult, but this difficulty is overrated. This difficulty is overrated. Papers were difficult because there were some difficult questions. It is true that there were difficult questions. It is true that, am I audible, please? Please confirm. Yes. So in 2020, there were some difficult questions, but what you must notice is that most of these difficult questions were placed in the choice section. This is the case in every year. If you're a beginner, since you have not seen 2019 and 18 papers, 20 paper will look like a tough paper. 20 will look like a tough paper. But otherwise, 19 and 20 are in the same direction. But in 20, they took some questions from sociology. That is So in social, they took some questions from sociology optional and asked in anthropology. And in sociology, they took questions from anthropology and asked. They're asking concepts on tribes, ethnicity. They're asking questions about Malinowski in sociology. They're asking questions on participant observation in sociology. So they're taking sociology questions and making anthropology a little difficult. They're making sociology difficult by asking anthropology questions there. So some difficult questions are asked. These were mostly in choice section. But there is no doubt we have to be prepared for this. How do we prepare for this? Those which are coming from sociology, we cannot, that is, I would not suggest you to go after it. You cannot go and read sociology. But you also notice that they are asking some questions from archaeology. So archaeology is getting more importance. Archaeology is getting more important. So focus on archaeology more. In addition, some of the questions seem difficult. Some of the questions seem difficult not because they are new topics. The questions are being asked in indirect style. They're asking indirect questions. They're asking indirect questions. An example of this is the question on Natufian culture. So what is Natufian culture? Natufian culture is nothing but Neolithic culture. Natufian culture, nothing but culture. Yes, this is an example for Neolithic culture. So instead of asking Neolithic directly, they gave you an example and they asked you to write about the Neolithic stage. So they're asking questions, they're asking familiar concepts indirectly rather than asking them directly. That is the only change. So please do not worry about it. If you prepare well, if you have good hold on the concepts, you will know that they're asking indirect questions. So what should we do? If they're asking questions from sociology, leave them in choice. But prepare archaeology well and prepare the concepts well so that if the question is worded indirectly also, you will be able to catch. The moment you see Natufian culture, you must not have fear in your spine. You must think, yes, Natufian is just an example of Neolithic. So all I have to do is write about Neolithic. Problem solved. That is how we can address this issue. And your job will also become easy if you cover entire syllabus. Please cover entire syllabus. Most students have a habit of thinking there is choice anyway. Let me leave some topics. Let me leave some topics. When you do that, what happens is that if they ask unexpected questions, your position becomes difficult, because if you prepare the syllabus 100% and something comes out of syllabus, you can leave out of syllabus questions in choice. But if you're not even covering the 100% syllabus, then you have to handle both what you have left out in syllabus. You also have to handle out of syllabus questions. So please cover entire syllabus and don't be lazy. Don't be lazy and assume that there is choice and I can leave some topics. Don't. Prepare entire syllabus. This is how Sai Teja Sai you can handle the 2020 kind of papers. 2021 also will be in this direction. But if you follow this strategy, then I'm sure you will be successful. You don't have to worry. Then another student has been asking, I think Gopinath, about Sapiens. He has been asking about book Sapiens. Sapiens is a very wonderful book, and especially chapters 1 to 4 of Sapiens are very, very helpful to all of us. So it is good, it is indeed helpful if you can use Sapiens book for value addition. Some of the examples used in Sapiens book can be used for value addition in mains. It can also be used for value addition in interview. So I'm sharing a link on chat. So what I did is I took the book Sapiens and made videos on this, and I shared the link to those videos on YouTube. You can just look at Sapiens, watch these videos and make brief notes. You can make brief notes. In fact, the PPTs are also available. So you can just go through the PPTs and note down the points and use those points for your answer. So Sapiens helps. But if you don't have time, the easiest thing you can do is just watch the first 4 videos in the playlist. I shared a list of videos. Just watch the first 4 videos. Watch the first 4 videos and use that content in your answers. That is the other question. So with that, I have addressed almost all the questions that I got from you. And I'll just like to also tell you a brief, run you briefly through our anthropology mentorship program. So anthropology mentorship program we are launching on June 26th, and many students generally have a problem. Many students generally have a problem with this anthropology is that test series, there is no good test series. So we are trying to address these issues by launching a new concept. In our test series, we are giving you in advance, we are telling you dates as well. So the tests begin on 26th. On 26th, you will get your test will begin. And before test series, we will give you approach paper. Approach paper will be uploaded on a particular date. In this approach, we are bringing a new concept of approach. What is approach paper? In approach paper, we will tell you a brief introduction because model answers just have content. Approach paper gives you an overall overview of the topic. It gives you examination orientation. It gives you perspectives of the topic. So approach paper is like hand-holding you and walking you into the topic. And once it is like hand-holding and walking you into the model answers, and model answers can be used by you next to gain content. And we are also announcing the day on which you will get your corrected papers. And after getting your corrected paper, we are also providing for faculty interaction. On a particular day, you can book your appointment. You can pre-book an appointment and reach out to the faculty and discuss. You can reach out to me and discuss your specific queries. So this is how we are trying to give an assurance, a time-bound delivery of goals to the student. So that student does not have to wait for a script because you are all struggling against the time. You are running against the time, and we have to support you in that run by making sure that whenever you send something to us, you are able to get it back on time. So this is how we plan to organize this test series. And if you have more queries on this test series, please reach out to this number for registration. You can contact 9121239991. So please contact this number for more details on the test series, registration fee and other details they will guide you. Right? So this is the small announcement we wanted to make. Now, the other question, how to prepare paper 1 9th chapter genetics? Ashwini is asking. Please message directly publicly Ashwini so that everybody will benefit from your question. Some students are messaging me personally. So what about genetics paper 1? The problem with genetics is that many students don't realize that this is not a medical science paper. This is not medical science optional. This is anthropology. So when you're looking at genetics, please prepare, please handle only the basics. If you're looking at genetics, how you should handle it is study the basic principles. Don't remember all the terminologies. Anusha also earlier asked this question. Basic ideas, prepare the basic ideas and concepts. Prepare the basic ideas and concepts. Then there are examples. Prepare examples and use some diagrams. And in your answer, cover all subheadings. In your answer, cover all subheadings. So this is how we have to, this is how you can handle genetics. Don't dwell deep how to derive Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, how to understand twin study at a PhD level. Don't do that, because this is not medical science. So even otherwise, in physical anthropology, more questions come from 9.5 to 12 onwards. More questions come from this section than 9.1 to 9.3. 9.1 to 9.3 is genetics. Very few questions come from here, because this is not really core anthropology. This is a deviation. This is a slightly deviation from anthropology. 9.5 to 6 or 9.4 as well. 9.4 to 12. This is the important part. This is the real physical anthropology. This is the real physical anthropology. Focus on this. Next, Bhavani is asking, if you don't mind, can you save the slides and share in the group? Sure, Bhavani, we will share this whole PDF in the group. Next, Abhishek Yarab. How do we prepare chapter 1.6 geographical distribution? Very simple, Abhishek. Just remember in terms of a map. Don't remember with geographical distribution. The problem is that students try to remember all examples. They try to remember all examples. When you try to remember all, you will not remember anything. If you go for all, you will get none. So what is the best way? What is the best way? Don't remember all examples. Don't remember all examples. Remember, for each category of the topic, remember 2-3 examples from regions. That's it. That is enough. Remember 2-3 examples, because they will only at the maximum ask one of the topics from 1.6. They will not ask you all the 1.6 is fossils. 1.6 is fossils. Australopithecus, Homo erectus, all this. So don't have to remember everything. Remember broadly 1-2 examples for each. Especially this is an issue for Australo. What I have said, 1-2 examples helps for everything else, but for Australopithecus, you have to remember a lot of locations. Here, don't worry. Here, I have some foreign author books where these locations are very nicely illustrated through good figures. I will share these figures with you. I will compiling them. Once I've compiled them, all these figures will be shared with you, and you can use these figures to remember, because this will have a visual appeal to you. So I will share all those diagrams with you, then you can remember. Next, the other question is negative marks. There are no negative marks, G1, please. There are no negative marks in optional. We only have negative marks in prelims. Gopinath is asking paper pattern in marks. I don't understand that question, Gopinath. Please be more clear. Rajshekhar Reddy is asking us about how to get highest marks. That is what we have discussed, Rajshekhar, isn't it? That is what we have discussed so far. How to get high marks in the sense. Every topic, this is what the whole discussion that we took. This whole discussion is about how to get highest marks. How to get highest marks. Any topic you should be able to write multi-dimensionally. You should be able to write multi-dimensionally. You should be able to address 3 to 4 angles to 3 to 4 headings with 5 points for each. Use keywords. Use value additions like thinkers, case studies. Draw a diagram. If you can do this for even 15 questions perfectly, even if you'll write 19 questions. Of the 19 questions that you actually write in anthropology, if you can do this even for 15 questions, trust me, you will get highest marks. Because many students are not doing this. So what should you do to get highest marks? For each question, you should be able to write answers in multi-dimensional. You should have 250 words ready for every answer. Right? Multi-dimensionally, have 3 to 4 headings. For each heading, have 5 points. Have the necessary keywords. Have value addition. Value addition means thinker, example, case study, and diagram. That is how you will get. That is how you will get good marks in highest marks in this subject. Right? Now, what are the other questions that we can take before we can wind up our discussion? Let me see what questions have come. I cannot take all questions, so we will try to take questions that are common to many students because of paucity of time. Some questions may not be. Yes, when somebody is asking for compilation of case studies examples, yes, we are compiling both two materials. We are compiling case studies. We are also compiling, in addition to case studies, we are also compiling diagrams. So all that will be shared by you before prelims. If they'll be ready at the time you finish prelims. Don't worry about that. Now there is one question from Kaushik. How to prepare for tribal part? Nadeem Masnan is very difficult for me to read it. It can, Nadeem, Kaushik, you can message me personally because this is just your personal question, Kaushik. I know Kaushik. Kaushik is my previous student. How are you, Kaushik? So please message me personally, Kaushik. We will arrange a call and we will discuss this specific issue on a call because this is just relevant for you and not for everybody else. Since we are running out of time, I will take that question with you personally. Next question is, if many people opt for Anthro, is there a chance to make paper tough to screen in mains? Not really, because Anthro so far, from what we know so far, the number of people taking Anthro is still very less. It's still very less compared to other optionals like PSIR, geography, and public administration. But yes, if the number of people increase dramatically, then they will tend to make papers difficult. But if the number of people increase dramatically, then your easiness to prepare for difficulty also will improve. So it's a feedback loop. Civil service mains is very, very dynamic. It's a feedback loop. So it will you can keep improving. So as long as you follow the core strategy, even if papers are difficult, you will be able to write these questions well. Next. Our team will reach out to you, Sunita. Sunita is asking, where will we share the material? The team, we will make it in public domain. We will share it in our Law Excellence Telegram groups. We will also share it in Law Excellence blog and Law Excellence website. I think BN Prasad was raising his hand. BN Prasad, do you still have question or is it addressed? When will anthropology classes start? Presently, Shiva, there is a class going on. So presently a batch is going on and we are about to conclude that batch in a matter of few weeks. Fresh batch will start by end of July or the first week of August for regular classes.
Hello,
but
sir.
For those who want test series will begin on June 26th. Yes, Jai Chandra.
Hello, sir.
Yes, who is this? Prasad or Jai Chandra?
Prasad.
Prasad, yes, Prasad. How are you?
Yeah, going good, sir. How are you?
Nagendra is right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Nagendra is also a previous student of mine. Yes, Nagendra, very, very inquisitive person.
So facing difficulty regarding 1.5 and 1.6 are mainly these timelines of evolutionary models and fossil specimens location and their description of fossils. These are I am facing difficulty. That was first question, sir. Second was regarding a socio-cultural part. I was going through Amber and Amber, sir. But making a short note from like even for a marriage, it is like 20 pages or 30 pages. Getting a points and making short notes and prioritizing which are important and not important. I was facing a bit difficulty regarding that, sir. These two problems.
For the second part, Nagendra, just go through summary. At the end of Ember and Ember, you will have summary, right? So look at the summary, and in that summary, you will get the crux. So you can use that summary to make notes. But in Ember and Ember, let's say the chapter, but first follow the class notes, please. Because in class notes, I try to give the essential parts from all the books. So use class notes first. And if you after that, if you want to read Ember and Ember, what you can do is Ember and Ember has both concepts and examples. a lot of discussion is there about examples. Ignore the examples and catch the concepts. He will
Yes,
take
sir.
one tribe and discuss that tribe in great detail. So don't study a tribe in that much amount of detail, please. Focus on the concept. Then you will find that the number of concepts are very few. Examples are many, but concepts are very few.
Yes,
Hi, sir.
Regarding
This
the
is
first
Jaychandra.
question,
sir.
regarding the first question, Nagendra, I will share the pictorials. I will share the pictorials, then it may become easy. But the other issue also is that many students, they try to remember a lot of details for 1.6 fossils part. You try to remember so much of information. So try to cut down on that. They will try to remember for one fossil, they will try to remember 6-7 examples. So if you cut down on the examples, if you remember just 2 to 3 examples, then your job will become easy. So remember more concepts, but remember fewer examples. That is how you should handle fossils.
Hi, sir.
Yes.
This is Jaychandra.
Yes, Jaychandra.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, are you comfortable to in Telugu? Are you comfortable?
Chappan Jaychandra, parledu. Yes, please.
ఓకే సార్. సార్ ఇప్పుడు నేను ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ అనేది తెలుగులో ప్రిపేర్ అవ్వాలనుకుంటున్నాను.
Okay.
దానికి బుక్స్ ఏమైనా మీరు సజెస్ట్ చేయగలుగుతారా తెలుగు మీడియం వాళ్ళకి?
Telugu medium ki, please use Telugu Academy books, Jaychandra.
ఓకే సార్. అది ఏమైనా మీరు చెప్పగలుగుతారా? ఎలా ఏ
Telugu
books
Academy ki, they have a BA anthropology books ఉన్నాయి. You will get them in any of the bookstore in Ashok Nagar. అవి చూడొచ్చు మీరు. But if you can read English with, if you are మీరు తెలుగు మీడియం తో రాస్తున్నారా? తెలుగు మీడియం తోనే రాస్తున్నారా?
అవును సార్, నేను తెలుగు మీడియంలోనే రాస్తున్నాను.
ఓకే. దెన్ తెలుగు అకాడమీ తీసుకోండి. తెలుగు అకాడమీ బుక్స్ తీసుకొని మీరు అవి యూస్ చేసుకోవచ్చు.
నేను తెలుగు అకాడమీ బుక్స్ అనేసి నేను చూశాను సార్. దానికి ప్రత్యేకంగా యూపీఎస్సి కోసం అనేసి తెలుగు అకాడమీ బుక్స్ అనేది ఆంథ్రోపాలజీకి ఉన్నాయి.
ఓకే.
ఒక 4 బుక్స్ ఏమో చూశాను.
ఓకే.
దాన్ని ఏమైనా ఫాలో చేయమంటారా?
ఎస్, ఫాలో అవ్వండి. ప్లీజ్ ఫాలో దట్. అవి బేస్ గా పెట్టుకోండి. ఆన్ టాప్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్ కొంచెం కరెంట్ అఫైర్స్ ఇవి కావాలి అంటే అవి ఇంగ్లీష్ మీడియంలో ఉంటాయి. ఇంగ్లీష్ మీడియంలో చదివినా మీరు తెలుగులో కన్వర్ట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. కొంచెం కరెంట్ అఫైర్స్ మనకి ఇంగ్లీష్లో వస్తాయి. మిగతా కాన్సెప్ట్స్ అన్ని కూడా యూ విల్ హ్యావ్ ఇన్ తెలుగు.
సార్, ఇప్పుడు జరిగిన సెషన్ అనేది ఎక్కడ పోస్ట్ చేస్తారు? అంటే నేను స్టార్టింగ్ అనేది మిస్ అయిపోయాను.
యూట్యూబ్ లో పోస్ట్ చేస్తాం జయచంద్ర. వి విల్ పోస్ట్ ఆన్ లా ఎక్సలెన్స్ యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్.
ఓకే సార్, అందుకోసం నేను మిస్ అయ్యాను సార్ స్టార్టింగ్ సెషన్.
డోంట్ వరీ, ఈ సెషన్ ఇస్ బీయింగ్ రికార్డెడ్. యూట్యూబ్ లో పోస్ట్ చేస్తారు. మీరు భయపడాల్సిన అవసరం ఏమీ లేదు.
ఓకే సార్. ఓకే.
Yes, Vikram is asking about duration of regular classes. For regular classes, Vikram, we will begin. Duration is about 16 weeks. We plan a 16-week program, and if you take a break in between, it can get adjusted to one more week of extra time. But the plan is to finish the course in 16 weeks. And we will begin a fresh batch July end or in August 1st. Pampari Naveen, how to read kinship terminology? Kinship terminology, Ravi, you have to break it into 2. First, you have to study kinship terminology in terms of how each various thinkers have addressed kinship terminology. Here, the relevant thinkers are Morgan, A.R.R. Brown. These are 2 relevant people. And then, more importantly, you have to also try to understand the broad kinship terminology systems. There are 6 kinship terminology systems like Crow system, Omaha system, Iroquois system, Inuit system, Sudanese, and Eskimo system. Just remember the basics of these 6 systems. That is more important. So some thinkers and the 6 kinship terminology systems. Next, Sushmita is asking, test in online mode or offline mode? Both modes are available, Sushmita. Please reach out to this number that you see on the screen. They will give you the more clear details. So I hope we have addressed all the major questions that have been put forward by the students.
Sir, one last question.
Yes, Chappan Jaychandra.
సార్, మన ఆంథ్రోపాలజీలో నెగిటివ్స్ పాజిటివ్స్ ఇవి ఇంత చెప్పారా అంటే సెషన్ లో?
కొంచెం what is your question? Please repeat. Anthropology లో
ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ స్ట్రాటజీ పాజిటివ్స్ నెగిటివ్స్ హౌ టు స్కోర్ బెటర్ మార్క్స్ అనేది
అది I discussed the beginning, Jaychandra. So మీరు beginning miss అయ్యారు కదా. If you watch it, you will get it.
ఓకే ఓకే సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
అది beginning లో we discussed it in great length. So please watch the video. If you repeat it, other students may not find it, may find it very repetitive. That is the reason. I discussed the strategy very clearly in the beginning.
లా ఎక్సలెన్స్ లో పోస్ట్ చేస్తారా సార్ వీడియో?
Yes, post చేస్తా.
ఛానల్.
Yes, Law Excellence Civils Prep YouTube channel ఉంటుంది. అక్కడ we will post the video.
ఓకే సార్.
Very good, Jaychandra. Any other questions, please, before we can wind up our session? All right. Any other question that I missed? Please let me know. Otherwise, yes, Arjun.
గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ సార్.
Good evening, Arjun.
సార్ మా ఆంథ్రోపాలజీకి ఏమైనా ప్రీవియస్ పేపర్లకి బుక్ ఉంటుందా సార్? అంటే మెయిన్స్ కి ప్రీవియస్ పేపర్.
Very good. I missed your question, Arjun. Yes, thank you for reminding me. There is a publication called New Vishal Publications. So New Vishal Publications, they have a compilation of all the previous year's questions. So please, you can get a copy of New Vishal Publications, Anthropology, previous year questions. You can look at this, Arjun.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
Suresh, for fee details, please reach out this number. They will tell you the fee details for this program. Mamata is asking paper 1, paper 2 syllabus. I didn't get your question, Mamata. Can you be more specific, please? Class notes cover. If your question is, do class notes cover complete syllabus? Yes. Any good class notes will cover. At least if you can take from my previous students, if you can take class notes like Anusha or Kaushik or Prasad, class notes covers the entire syllabus. All right. With that, we will end up this session. We have been discussing over 1 hour 15 minutes in the past since 6 o'clock, and we tried to take a lot of questions and address specific queries of students. Even beyond this, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Telegram. You can reach out to me on Telegram. My number is so this is the number. You can message me on Telegram. So I don't use WhatsApp. So you can reach out to me on this number in Telegram for any other queries. So on that note, let us end this session. And it has been a very good experience for me interacting with all of you and taking your questions. It was a very lively session. One of the very lively batches I have met. Most of you had very, very vocally and clearly asked your questions without any inhibition. So keep asking such questions, and it is through questions and discussions that we improve our knowledge mutually. Right? On that note, let us put an end to today's evening session, and we will keep interacting in due course of time. I will see you soon. Until then, take care, stay safe, and goodbye.